Vendedora was not so ready to relinquish the prize she had made in the Albarda. And she caused such a ruckus that everyone in the inn came running out to see what the quarrel and noise and such was all about.
¡Todos mis cabreros que me ocupaste! ¡Aquí, del rey de la justicia que sobre cobrar mi hacienda! ¡Me quiere matar ese ladrón, salteador de caminos!
¡Mentís! Que yo no soy salteador de caminos, que en buena guerra que ganó mi señor Don Quijote estos despojos.
Señores, así, esa albarda es mía. Y además, el mismo día que ella me quitaron también una vacía de azúcar nueva.
Vuestras mercedes may perceive clearly and plainly the error under which this worthy vendedora lies when she calls Bacilla, which was, is, and shall be El Yelmo de Mambrino, which I won from her in fair war and made myself master of by legitimate and lawful possession. With the Albarda, I do not concern myself. My escudero, Sancho, asked my permission to take it, and I allowed him, and he took it. Here. This Yelmo is the identical one I took from her.
En eso no hay duda, y si no fuera por este pasillero, no lo pasará entonces muy bien, porque hubo asaz de pedradas en nuestras batallas.
¿Qué le parece ahora de lo que afirman estos gentiles hombres? Pues aún afirman, porfían, que esto era vacía y no yelmo.
Since I was present through all this and understood Don Quixote's humor so thoroughly, I decided to back up his delusion and carry on the joke for general amusement.
Senora Vendedora, whatever you are, you must know that I too belong to your profession. And I was likewise a soldier in the days of my youth. And I also know what a yelmo is.
I say, what we have here before us, what this worthy gentleman has in his hands, is not only no Bacilla de Barbero, I say moreover, also it is a yelmo. It's not a complete yelmo. To carry on with a joke, I went with my friend here, and all the other bar companions agreed with us.
Válgame Dios! ¿Cómo es posible que tanta gente tan honorada diga que no es vacía sino yelmo? Cosa preciosa que puede poner en gran admiración a toda una universidad, por discreta que sea. Basta. Si ese vacío es yelmo, también pueden decir que ese albarda es hayas de caballo, sin este señor ha dicho.
To me, it looks like an albarda, but I have already said that with that question I do not concern myself.
As to whether it be an albarda or a yes, it is Don Quixote's to say, for in these matters of caballeria, all these people and I bow to your authority.
I will not venture to assert anything positively concerning this castillo, for it is my belief that everything that goes on within it goes by encantamento.
Y continuó, supongo?
He had already given an answer regarding the assertion that it was a Bacilla and not a yelmo. On whether it was an albarda or hayez, he would not venture to give a positive opinion.
Perhaps as you are not armados caballeros, the encantamentos of this place have nothing to do with you, and your faculties are unfettered. And you can see things in this castillo as they really and truly are, not as they appear to me.
Without question, Don Quixote has spoken very wisely, and with us rests the decision of this matter.
I will take votes from everyone in secret and declare the results clearly and fully.
To those who were in on the secret of Don Quixote's humor, all this afforded great amusement. But to those who knew nothing about it, it seemed the greatest nonsense in the world.
But the one who was at her wit's end was the vendedora, whose bacilla before her very eyes had been turned into El Yelmo de Membrino, and whose albardo she had no doubt was about to become a rich man's hayez for a horse.
All laughed to see Nicolas going from one to another collecting the votes and whispering to them to give him their private opinion whether the treasure over which there had been so much fighting was an albarda or hayez.
The fact is, Buena Mujer, everyone agrees that this is not an albarda for an ass, but a hayez for a horse. And so, you must admit that you have proved and stated your case very badly.
Ella parecía mi albarda, pero allá hay leyes y no diga más.
Unless indeed this is a deliberate joke, I cannot bring myself to believe that people so intelligent as those present here would believe this. All the people in the world cannot make me believe that that is not a vacío de barbero, and this is not a jackass's albarda.
It is an albarda as sure as my father is my father. And anyone that notes, quotes, or states otherwise has gotta be drunk.
You lie like a rascaling villain!
Oh! Hold on! Sheathe your swords.
Did I not tell you, senores, that this castillo was encantado?
I demand you read this warrant that says this highwayman is to be arrested.
¡Viva el Señor! Que es verdad cuanto mi amo, que dice los encantos de este castillo, pues no es bien posible vivir una hora con quietud en él.
I pardoned the officer and Don Quixote.
And he requested the help and aid of capture and transport of the robbers and footpad of the roads.
Venid acá, base, ill-born gente. You call it highway robbery to give freedom to those in bondage, to succor the miserable, to release the captives, to raise up the fallen, to relieve the needy. You show the sin and ignorance in which you lie when you refuse to respect the shadow, much less the presence of any caballero andante. Venid acá, you are ladrones, not officers. Tell me, who was the ignorante who signed a warrant of arrest against such a caballero as I? Who was he who did not know that caballeros andantes are independent of all jurisdictions? That su ley es su espada, their charter, their prowess, their edicts, their will.
En tanto que Don Quijote esto decía, la profesora estaba persuadiendo a los cuadrilleros cómo Don Quijote era falto de juicio.
I endeavored to persuade the officers that Don Quixote was out of his mind, which they could perceive by his deeds and his words, and not to press the matter any further. If they arrested him, they would have to release him by and by because of this madness.
I have nothing to do to inquire of Don Quixote's madness, but only to execute my superior's orders.
¿Cómo evitó el arresto de Don Quijote?
In short, I used such strong arguments, and Don Quixote did such mad things that they would have been crazier than he was if they had not noticed his affliction. And so they thought it best to let the matter pass, and even acted as peacemakers between the vendedora and Sancho Panza, who still continued their altercation with much bitterness.
Y en lo que tocaba lo del yelmo de Mambrino,
Professor Seguenza paid 8 reales for the bacilla without Don Quixote knowing it.
Le hice una cédula del recibo y de no llamarle por entonces ni por siempre, jamás. Amén.
La profesora y Nicolás quisieron llevárselo, como deseaban, y procurar la cura de su locura en su tierra de la Mancha. Y lo que ordenaron fue que se concertaron con un carretero que acaso acertó a pasar por allí, para que lo llevase en esta forma.
¿Cómo sacaron a Don Quijote de la venta?
They devised a plan that did not require Nicholas to return with Don Quixote to his village under the pretense of portraying the princess of Micomicona. Through the directions and advice of Profesora Sigüenza, we began to disguise ourselves.
Nos cubrimos el rostro y nos disfrazamos.
We were supposed to appear as very different people to the people Don Quixote was used to seeing at the castle.
Fully disguised and in profound silence, we entered the room where Don Quixote was asleep, taking his rest after past frays.
We seized him firmly and bound him fast hand and foot.
When he awoke startled, he was unable to move and could only marvel and wonder at the strange figures he saw before him.
Su desvariada imaginación creo que todas aquellas figuras eran fantasmas de aquel encantado castillo.
And since he was unquestionably encantado, he could nor help himself nor move.
This was precisely what Profesora Sigüenza, the concoctor of the scheme, expected would happen.
Sancho was the only one present who was both in his right mind and not pretending to be someone else.
¿Y cómo es eso?
Though he was not far from sharing his master's madness, he did not fail to perceive who all these disguised figures were.
But he did not dare to open his lips until he saw what came of this capture of his master, nor did he utter a word, waiting to see how far this would go.